I argue, is decisive evidence of the activity of a designing mind in the origin of life.
It's comical when science or technology talks about God. I mean, the way they frame things, because they're so limited, like they're even extra limited because they don't know the Holy Spirit. So, and they'll find that out one day, okay? Because they don't even believe anything Jesus said. They don't, and look, because the whole world is run by the wicked one, when it's not sleeping at the Vatican, it's employed. It's the power behind science and technology the most. It is. Why would that be? Well, it's very simple. It's because it goes back to why God did not want them to take from the tree. And so when they did, because then they would know evil. So then when they did, they were casted into the sinful world that is run by the wicked one. Go then forward to the Tower of Babel, which was the first incident of man going too far, not knowing their limits, and God even saying that we have to go down there and do something because they're dangerous. They know no limits, and it's never changed since then. It's worse now than it's ever. It always gets worse as technology and science advances. It's worse. So what did God do in the tower? He went down, changed all their languages. At that time, it was easy, ceased their activities, and it dispersed them amongst their communities because they couldn't understand each other to keep building their tower. And now we're at the place where, well, they have robots that look like humans. And then I just listened to a short clip with Tucker Carlson because he was interviewing Sean Ryan, and they were talking about the chip, the Neuralink thing. And Tucker said, well, he knows a lot of people on the inside, that are inside deep with the Neuralink. And he said, the thing is yeah, they want Neuralink because it'll make the blind see and the lame walk. And it's like, yeah, playing God, of course. But, okay. And he said, but the reason they want everybody to take the chip is because he said that if they don't, they'll become a slave to the machine. He said because it sounds like they believe AI is already sentient. And so Tucker said, well, why can't you just unplug it? And they said, we believe AI is even lying to us. And we don't even know. And we don't know where they're generating their power. They don't know where the power source is coming from for AI. Because AI is so smart, it generates its own. Yeah, so do you see, this is why God said they're a danger to themselves. So when it comes to science and technology, even though in this world they've been presented to you as the smartest people on the planet, they'll come to find out that they were the most limited because because they don't operate from the Spirit. And if they did, quite frankly, it wouldn't matter because the industry of science and technology wouldn't really allow them anyway because of who runs this world. So look, what the science does is when they talk about God, because this guy says at the beginning of the clip that there's God creates a single cell and that cell is God, and then goes on to and then they talk about God as like a mainframe and a programmer, an intelligent designer, and it's like, look, he's not. It's the massiveness of him is something our minds do not have the ability to understand. They just don't. But the best way to understand him is to know the Holy Spirit. That's why science and technology are limited, because all of their advances and their great discoveries they come upon, they're getting it from a wicked place. I've said for a while now, our government intelligence agencies have been colluding with wickedness that likely, presents itself as, oh no, we're here to help. You're just advancing in technology. No, if Jesus said the whole world's run by the wicked one, believe me, the biggest place it resides besides the Vatican is technology. Is technology. So when Tucker said this, that why don't you just unplug it, which is probably what most of us would think, They can't, because they don't know where it's generating its source, and they believe, the people. He said these are people on the insiders of Neuralink, that it's lying to them now. It's lying to its own programmers. Yeah. So see, this is the Tower of Babel on 100 grand of 100,000 million grams, times 1,000, whatever, of steroids from the Tower of Babel. Man not knowing their limits. So that, that's, or that's the wicked excuse to get people to, if you don't want to be a slave to the machine, you've already been a slave to the machine, to the government and the whole system, but now it's like literally it's going to be a machine, and if you don't want to be a slave to it, you're going to have to take a chip so you can think as fast as it can. Yeah, so no, I won't be doing that. And who knows if that's true, because again, when the wicked one controls this kingdom, it's also wanted to control the book of Revelation. So this chip thing is interesting. I've said this for a while, because many people are waiting for this Revelations to play out in this chronological order, and it's like, look, the middle of the book of Revelations, there's the beginning and the end that are chronologically in order. But the rest of it, God weaved. He's doing a whole lot of weaving of past, future, everything in there. And purposely so. Because, he knew, first of all, the wicked one was going to control that. And what the wicked one wants to make you think is that none of that book is already played out. And it's like, no, it has. It started. I've said for years now. It's been playing out since John finished writing it. Some of it's already happened. We don't really know. You can put together some of the pieces of what's really happened, but why hasn't any church to this day said that no? The letter to the Church of Philadelphia, which meant to the nation, was to America. It makes sense. It does, because that's why William Penn, the founder, named Philadelphia was because of that church that John was writing about. So God wanted it to play out that way, but no church could figure that out. So that's, you always have to understand when you're listening to science or tech, any of this, that the power behind them that's controlling them is the wicked one. That's why they are limited, because you, if you know the Holy Spirit, are more advanced than they are. Because the Holy Spirit is God. That's your, if you want to talk in tech terms, that's your modem up to God. So that's why that's most important. Which that will, so no matter how great their minds are academia-wise, they will, one, never be able to get to what they want to because of the wicked one that controls this kingdom, and that's controlling them, and they don't realize it. It's the power behind them that's doing it. Behind their industry. And because they don't know the Holy Spirit. So they're going to find out, because they're literally the example of the knowledge of good and evil. Where you get the true knowledge is from the Spirit. I'm not saying you'll get the knowledge to understand all the tech and all that, but the tech stuff is being tech and science, most especially tech, is controlled by the wicked one. So and now it's so out of control that they believe, at least according to Tucker, that AI is sentient, and they don't know where it's getting its source or where it's getting its power from to stop it, and the programmers believe it's now lying to them. So that's the reason they're going to push the chip, according to Tucker, is because either you're going to be a slave to the machine, because you will be seen as less than because it's way smarter, or you can level up and become at its same level so that you're not a slave to it. Yeah. So that was ultimately the reason God didn't want him to take from the tree in the garden. And now we've met this crossroads where it's at this point where God has to intervene, because man is so out of control in the areas of science and technology. God